7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
All right, welcome into the next edition of the Vegas Squares podcast. We are back in the virtual Zoom studio, and it is a major. We've got the first major of 2020 in August. It feels weird to be saying that, but 2020 has been a clusterfuck as it is. So putting all that behind, we got fake token here, Tony Johnson. What's up, brother?
Not too bad. How you doing?
Doing well. Like I said, it's major week. I'm here. I just got the new swag in the mail from our newest sponsor, Vice Golf. So Token, we played golf yesterday. Things went horribly wrong.
Yes. I mean, you started well on the front, and then
That's true. I was 3 over through 8,
Yeah.
and then I think I finished like 28 over.
it was fun to get out. Though it was definitely hot though.
Yeah, for sure. We got a special guest analyst here with us this week, Mr. John Parr, one of the best golfers I personally know, and hopefully maybe one of the best fantasy golf gurus that we will have. John Parr, how you doing today, man? Thanks for joining us.
Try not to kill all my action on the golf course, Aaron. I'm not that good.
Well, let's put it this way. I golf with Anthony, and he tries to stay under 120. So, I mean, best golfer I know is a broad spectrum, but I didn't mean to kill your action, my friend.
It's great. Thank you so much for inviting me onto the podcast. I was looking forward to this, and Vice Golf. Those Vice Golf balls are excellent. When everybody talks about Pro Vs, Vice Golf balls they're almost play the exact same. So good sponsor there.
Yeah, I agree. They sent me a couple sleeves, and I haven't lost one yet. So I mean, that may not necessarily be a testament to the balls, but I'm going to go ahead and say it is anyways. So, Mr. Johnson, I know this is like Christmas in August for you, my friend. You get jazzed up about every tournament every week, but I feel like this is like on X times 100 for this one.
Yeah, I mean it's as I said, I like the two tournament weeks as well. Those are kind of my favorites, and to have a back to back like this is pretty amazing. Yeah, we're seeing a better field than we usually do too, even for the PGA. 95, I think it's 94 now. The top 100 are playing in this thing. So yeah, I mean it's a pretty amazing situation that we have. I think is going to lend to some really really great golf.
Let's recap last weekend. Like you said, it was a dual tournament. We had some action. We had some sweats on Sunday, Token.
Yes, absolutely. Both on the Korn Ferry as well as the PGA Tour. I mean, Mr. Johnson as well had some really good picks and was looking really good, and then just ran like shit.
Yeah, I'd like to. I wish we would have thought about it to submit that to Scott Van Pelt's Bad Beats of the Week or whatever his segment is. Richie Wawinski dunking that one on 16 was a pretty gross beat, I think, for all of us. I mean, we all had Grillo in a matchup against Wawinski. You had Troy Merritt, Tony. He looked fantastic all week and was in line to really win that one. Wawinski we were just 1 week too late on him.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, having Wawrinski the week before in the 3M at 100, that was. It was a brutal situation. It took me a little while to get over that. But,
I believe it. I actually was curious at what the Johnson household looked like and what was broken, collateral damage after that. Because when I saw that he dunked that one on 16, I was like, mother of God.
No, I mean, I've gotten a lot better over the years as it's gone on. It's kind of one of those things that you can't control it, so you just got to roll with the punches, especially since moving out here and playing so much poker. You got to try to be as even keeled as you can. So yeah, no, it was just I felt downtrodden and sad, but no, we move on and get a lot of good stuff upcoming. So all you can do.
Hashtag variance, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's right, I guess.
We're gonna move into this. It's the PGA Championship from Harding Park in San Francisco. Again, first major of the year. One, golf being back. Obviously, we'll talk about it later with the no fans in attendance, but I feel like golf on TV has gotten way more in depth
Absolutely, and I don't put too much stock into no spectators being around. Maybe for someone like Tiger, where he feeds off of that, and maybe Kepka. You go off of last week. Justin Thomas. I can't believe uh, how clutch he is on Sundays, and we think about clutch as someone making a long bomb on the final hole, sort of like Morikawa did a couple weeks ago. But I define it as how JT plays on every Sunday, that he is in the mix, because he doesn't do it on 17, 18. He does it from the beginning. What happens is he separates himself from the field. He had no mistakes. His short game was on. It was top notch. I don't understand, for average golfers like us, he's chipping from just off the green on 17. I don't know if any of you guys saw that, and it was with almost a sort of, it had to be a 56 degree or something like that, and he kept it low, and it was a couple feet away from the hole, and he did that 3, 4, 5 times on the back nine, it seemed like, and he's just in amazing form right now. But leading up to this one, I like it that we're at Harding Park, another municipal course, which is always a lot of fun. It sort of takes us back to our roots, sort of like Bethpage Black or Torrey Pines, Chambers Bay. But it's sort of wide open. I feel like JT is he's number one in the world again, and he is sort of separating himself. But as we've seen this year, it is wide open, and there's not a lot of people that are just going to run away from the field.
Pretty good assessment of it. I mean, like you said, these majors, you've got probably 10, 11, 12 guys. I'm sure we'll talk about that with all the bets coming up in the rest of this episode. But you're right. I mean, the field is packed, but there are guys who, like you said, I would say even despite the setback on Sunday, Brooks Koepka's really putting himself in such a position to compete. And again, a guy who's going for a three-peat of the same major hasn't been done, I think, with the PGA since Walter Hagen. And that was a long time ago. I think that was probably before my grandfather was born. But token, I mean, Koepka has not had a good season this year, especially he's coming back from the restart. But it seemed like this was the right weekend last weekend to put himself mentally and physically in the right spots to try and three-peat.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody can flourish out of the basement and try and sneak into the FedEx Cup playoffs and all that, it's definitely him. And he did it very well the first 3 rounds last week. Kind of fell apart the last round, but I mean, he's still looking good, and I think he's probably feeling much better than he has in the last few months.
And I love his troll job of Bryson DeChambeau last week. John, you'll learn very quickly that I have a soft spot for Brooks Koepka because he is a Florida State boy. So
okay, well, I mean, you got to look at him last week, how solid he was all week, and a little nervy with that little blade on 16 on the par 5. I can't believe he did that. That's something we've never seen out of him before. He ended up making bogey and sort of took himself out of the tournament. However, that little 40-foot bomb on 17 sort of brought him right back to immortality as a hero in golf. But I guess he hasn't been in those spots lately, which when you do, we all know as golfers, if you haven't really been in those pressure situations, sometimes you falter fast.
Yeah, and Tony, I mean, I think the casual golf fan's always looking for somebody to take control of the sport, much like Tiger did in, obviously the early 2000s. Koepka's a very bipolar, not him specifically, but a polarizing figure in the golf world. Some people like him, some people hate him. I mean, if Tiger is not in the weekend or just not in contention, is Brooks Koepka a guy that, a guy going for a three-peat? Is he a guy that you can see the common man root for this weekend?
Yeah, I think there's a very large handful of great young players, and Koepka is certainly one of them. I'm not sure that anyone's going to come out of the pack necessarily and be kind of the main guy or the main, hero for some of these younger up and coming players. It's a very mixed bag in that sense. Personally, I prefer it a lot more than when it was more of a Tiger centric era. I'm personally not a big Tiger Woods fan, so it's a good thing for me. Certainly, I mean, I respect the way how much he's won, how great of a player he was, but certainly I think there's some strong detracting from other things that he did, especially the way he acted on the course. And you just don't see that from a lot of these other guys. Maybe a little bit from Bryson or whatever, but these guys, there's a lot of positive stuff to take here. Justin Thomas seems like an incredibly upfront and upstanding kind of guy. Ricky Fowler, if you wanted to put him in the mix, same way. Rory
He hates
McIlroy
Sundays,
is
by the way.
incredible.
Ricky Fowler's allergic to Sundays, dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's not an elite player. And again, I think it's important to note that. But, a lot of these great young players, though, are really pretty upstanding guys. So, yeah, nothing against Brooks. I mean, he's won 4 majors in the last, 2.5 years. I mean, how could you not, put him up there, in that category? Nobody's going to dominate and win 40 to 50 times in their career in this day and age. It's just not going to happen. There's too many great players. We haven't even talked about, Xander Schauffele is just as good as these guys. And
John Rahm. I mean,
John Rahm, of course, absolutely. It's just not possible to dominate at this moment, in my opinion. The fields are too deep and too good.
I certainly think that Koepka likes playing the villain role. He likes to be the guy that we were sort of dogging on earlier this year, and now he's saying, "Okay, guys, you think I'm trash? Let's get it going. Let's win this. Let's win this three-peat." I think he thrives off of that. He had that great quote of, "I don't need any more friends." I love that because, it's sort of, it's going to make everybody on tour be like, "Oh, Brooks, can we please be your friend? Because now you're the best golfer." And he thrives off of that stuff. He likes playing the villain.
That's fair. My new favorite quote from Brooks Koepka token is, "Hey, Bryson, look, an ant." That was great. That was great. But all right, so let's talk about Harding Park. Let's get into it as we do every week. Mr. Johnson's going to give us a course outline of TPC Harding Park up near San Francisco, California.
Well, there's a lot of stuff here, so I'll try to go pretty fast since obviously we haven't really seen this course before, I guess 5 years ago, but it's changed a little bit even since then. So it's a regular full 156 player field. It does tend to be a lighter field than some of the other bigger events, and that's mainly because 20 out of the 156 spots are actual PGA professionals from all around the world, and a lot of them teaching and things like that. So clearly, any of those guys don't have a chance to win this thing. And then you have quite a few handful of past winners. People in the Rich Beam category and things like that. Guys that are just not going to win.
We love Rich Beam.
And well, he's just a fun guy to kind of make fun of in that sense. But yeah, so I mean, you take out I think a decent chunk of players, and then we have the course and what we're going to get to right now, and I think that's going to also eliminate many more. So par 70. Official number is 7,234 yards. It can play up to about 7,400. They do have some tees, some capability to move back tees if they want to. So there's 5 tees they can extend, and it's just going to play long, really, really difficult for the most part. And the weather will play a factor as well. We got 6 par 4s from 450 yards to 500 yards, and then another one that's actually over 500 yards. They have cut down the fairways. So this is a very important note. There's a couple important notes, I think. They cut down the fairways about 60% to what they would normally be. That their normal width is about 60% for the normal play during the year. So that's going to be very, very key. We'll think about this as kind of like RBC Heritage. It's actually going to be a little bit tighter than Heritage, and Heritage is one of the tighter tracks that these guys play. So very different than the last few weeks that we've seen there. Very heavy rough. They've cut it a little bit from what I understand over the last couple of days in certain spots, but it's still going to be about 3.5 to 4 inches. Could be 4.5 inches or more in some spots around the green. There will be some penal spots around the green. To me, it's going to set up a little bit like the U.S. Open. Firm and fast. There'll be wind throughout the week, especially on Thursday p.m. And yeah, it's gonna be a really, really difficult test for many of these guys. What we're looking for here, for the most part, is, well, like any week, I guess, long and straight will be the key. Guys that are great long iron players, we're gonna have a lot of shots from far distance into the green. Guys that are really good out of the rough, proximity from the rough, I think, will be very important. And guys, and this is another important one here, that can move the ball right to left. There's a lot of shots that are right to left shots off the tee. We've seen the opposite of that for most of the last 7 weeks. So that's really, really important too. Why I've been so against Bubba Watson for the last 7 weeks is because of that setup. But now you can hit that crazy, fade off the tee, and then this is really important. So, Yeah, I mean, it's again not much water here. A lot of trees, a lot of heavy dog legs that bend pretty harshly. Weather-wise, coming into this, mid 50s in the mornings, mid 60s in the afternoons. About 10 to 15 mile an hour winds in the PM, pretty consistent. However, there is something to note here, especially with make miss cuts, which I know we'll get to probably later on. And these are only the guys I'm betting. I also got lucky and bet one at a good number, and he happens to be late. Late Thursday, the wind should expect to gust to about 25 miles an hour. So the guys that are late Thursday, early Friday tee times are going to have the toughest go of it by far, especially a window of tee times a little bit later on in the PM Thursday. I think there's a lot to be gained there, also in the matchups as well. And the morning on Thursday, there might be only 5 to 6 mile an hour type of wind. So I think there's going to be a lot of advantage there. And we'll see some matchups, for the different times, for the different tee times. There can be something to be gained. So, yeah, this is going to be a kind of a U.S. Open style situation. I think, we're not going to get a winner probably over 10 under. So I think this will be a lot of fun.
It sounds almost real similar to its sister property there, Olympia, as far as just a bomber's paradise as long as you can stay straight. John, what do you think? What do you think about this course, John?
Mr. Johnson, he had a ton of great points, especially moving it right to left, and you can throw a guy like Rory out there. I know he's sort of come off that big draw, but he still plays the gentle draw. He can work it both ways as well. But it's just as I mentioned before, I love it that it's a municipal golf course, and I wish they would do this more often because amateur golfers like us, we can go play that course and say, oh, Tiger did this here, or Rory did this here when he beat Woodland 4-2 back at the match play in 2015, and I think a lot of it has to do with the POA greens. Guys that have done well at Pebble Beach and Torrey, and it's almost that short jabby stroke. You look at a guy like Snedeker that has done well at Torrey Pines over the years. They know play it, Tiger playing on those greens, those POA greens. We talk about it all the time. In the afternoons, they get a little choppy, where the player will miss that 4-foot putt and they'll look straight down at the ground and they'll blame it on the ground. I think that's hilarious when they do that. I always like seeing that. But this course has a lot of history. I don't know if you all remember, but that great club twirl in the President's Cup by Tiger back in the day. He had a 4-iron. I don't know, it was like 220, something like that for Eagle. And he has that club twirl where he holds his hands up, and Fred Couples is making fun of him as he's walking down the fairway. I love the history, and I love the fact that it's a municipal golf course, and looking forward to playing on something like that with the cypress trees and the Poa greens.
Very good, very good. All right, so I can't overlook the fact that Token just got like 25 years older by putting that hat on.
That's about how long I've had this hat.
I'm guessing he's either a Bryson DeChambeau supporter or he thinks Payne Stewart's going to win this weekend.
He almost looks as goofy as Rich Beam after he won the PGA Championship with that silly little dance that he did.
I remember that, yeah.
I'm channeling my inner Bryson.
Watch out, Token. There's an ant on your screen. All right, so another guy I want to talk about before we get into our picks is Jordan Spieth. Now, they've interviewed him this week, and he has said basically this entire restart has been a complete focus only on the PGA Championship, because if you do or don't know, this is the only major that Jordan Spieth has not won. He has not completed the career Grand Slam because he has not won a PGA Championship. We've not been high on Spieth on this podcast here, but John, I'll let you talk about this first. He's obviously capable of winning this tournament, but what about Jordan Spieth do you see likes, dislikes? And it may have a factor in your betting, but I want to talk about Jordan Spieth because completing a career Grand Slam is huge. I mean, I think Rory has the Masters left, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, this is a big thing, especially as Tony Johnson mentioned. There isn't a guy that's going to be lapping the field like Tiger Woods did 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, Spieth has been we're all rooting for him to get back where he was. Because as you said about, JT and Ricky and that whole group that they hang out with, he's just a good guy. And we like rooting for him. And he's made some fantastic putts over the years where you think it's time for him to let down, and he comes through, and that putt at Chambers Bay on 17 from like 35 feet, that was amazing. But I don't like it. He's all over the place with his driver. Putting has always, really been there with that nice little forward press that he has, but I don't think he's quite there yet. And I'm sort of comparing him to Luke Donald. He's been that guy who makes everything, but he doesn't hit as far as everybody else. And that's sort of what happened to Luke. He was number one in the world for a while. I think he holds the record for most greens not three putted at like 450 or something like that, which is an amazing stat. But I just see him having a tough time with how the PGA Tour has set up all the golf courses now, where you can just bomb and gouge, and they don't set up the rough. He does well in those the championships where you have that thick rough, and you can put it down the fairway and putt well. But guess what? He's not hitting in the fairway right now, which is completely unfortunate, because I know we're all rooting for him.
Yeah, I mean, Tony, I think back to that year he botched the Masters. Was that 17 or so? And just the picture, it's become an internet meme sensation, Tony, that where he's just looking, after he puts the jacket on Danny Willett, he's just looking off to the side like, this is fine. This is fine. But it hasn't been fine.
No, he's had a rook going. There's no question about that. And you're right, Aaron. We've been sort of playing the against train here with him the last 7 weeks. Except for, again, there's a few spots where I think he makes a lot of sense. And one of them is Colonial, which was the first week that when we came back here, I was on him pretty big, Colonial. He had a really good week there too. So there are certain spots where he is on point. I've already bet him for the Masters. This was a while ago, factoring Colonial actually, at 50-1. So yeah, and he won't go off more than 20 in that tournament. So yeah, I mean it's I think there's something to be said about really difficult tracks with weather maybe involved, just places where you have to plot your way around the course and make some sense and majors. And he's done really, really well the last four. You look at the last four PGAs. He's had 2 top 10s. He has actually played well here during spats of poor play. So I'm not necessarily going to take him for the win, but one of the largest prop bets I've already made is actually him to make the cut. Funny enough, you bring this up at minus 200, which I think that number is still available. He seems like a guy that is really, really excited and ready to go play this thing. Does he have the game to put it all together? Is he on the same level as Justin Thomas or Brooks Koepka or John Rahm? No, he's not. He's 100%. You're dead right. He's not. But that doesn't mean that he can't just get himself in the mix and certainly be involved.
All right, last thing I want to touch on here with you, Token, and we'll get into the picks, is the impact of no fans. John talked about it. Tiger's kind of the guy who really gets off on the fan interaction, but most of these other guys really don't want it. So really, fan impact might be very minimal to the fact they're not there. It hasn't been so far in 7 weeks, except for now you're lashing out at camera guys instead of fans. But we really haven't had a ton of impact by this, even though we all still kind of want to go to golf tournaments.
Yeah, I'm sure some of those players definitely feel the energy off the fans and all that, especially if it was like the Waste Management Open or something tournament goofy like that where...
Well, yeah, the Waste Management's a huge debacle, especially on, obviously, 16. But
yeah, I mean, it's something that the players definitely enjoy as like a tribute for the fans, as well as just that high energy that they present.
Do you think it takes pressure off of them? I mean, I understand they know millions of people are watching all around the world, but no one's literally standing right there watching them.
Yeah. For the most part, I think it kind of gives them a sense of try not to hit the fans and try and find the center of the fairway. I mean, I remember watching some highlights recently, and Sergio hit one into the crowd and knocked a diamond off of a ring of a lady that was spectating.
Wow.
They had to dig through the rough to find that one. They found the diamond in the rough.
Oh, snap!
Have you been setting that up for like 4 days now?
No.
They found the diamond in the rough. Oh, my God. So, all right, boys, it's time to make some picks. No more delay, no more stall. Let's get into it. Obviously, as you know, if you watch the podcast, we start with the futures bets. We break it into 3 tiers, and we're going to do that right now. The favorites are Justin Thomas and Brooks Koepka at 10-1. So we're going to start with that favorite, the top tier, the first tier. Start with the Brooks Koepka at 10-1, roll it all the way down to Daniel Berger at 40-1. This is the first tier, Brooks to Berger. Tony Johnson, start us off.
Yeah, so I'm treating this very similarly to what we saw a little bit with the Memorial and a little bit to the WGC, in the sense that I really believe there's only a handful of guys that can actually win this tournament. I don't know how many there are, but it's probably about half the field, maybe. I really believe that. I think it's going to be that much of a true test. And I've taken putting a little bit out, like those last couple of weeks either, just because I think the greens are going to be easier. Again, they're relatively flat, mostly bent grass, and I think that brings a lot of guys into the mix that can have a nice week putting. So I'm really focused on some of these ball striking spots. So yeah, I went with some real talent here. I don't usually stay on the top end, as you know, of the odds, but I do have a few here. So yeah, I'll jump right in. And it's a near favorite. Again, a rarity for me, but I'm going with McIlroy here at 14, and I just think a lot of this sets up well. You know, John brought it up earlier, the fact that he can move the ball both ways off the tee, especially right to left, as he's kind of gotten away from that. You're dead right. I still think that's going to come in and be a nice factor here. I rewatched some of that 2015 match play just out of curiosity to see some of the lines that he took with some of the similar holes. And, I just think it sets up really, really well for him here. Obviously, you got to be great, out of the rough with long irons, into some of these elevated greens. And this is what he does best. Really, really well. Plays well in wind. The weather won't be an issue at all. I know it's going to be a little chillier. I just think the European type of player really will fit this pretty well. So, yeah, love him a lot here at 14-1, actually. My number came in at around 11 or 12, about 11 and a half when I got done with it. So, yeah, I feel good about that. Guy I bet last week, actually, when during the previous tournament was Xander Schauffele. He was 25 then. I just didn't think it was ever going to go up from there, so I picked it at 25. I've been on Xander, 3 or 4 times now since the restart, and he hasn't disappointed me since.
I think every week.
No, I mean, there's no reason not to be. All he does is keep top 10ing events, and he's all put it nearly all together. He made a quad early in the tournament last week, and then after that quad in the first round, he made 1 bogey the rest of the way, the last 3.5 rounds, and was almost put together a run there at the end to get himself in the mix. Starting to play really, really well in all facets of his game. It was all short game for a little while, and then it became pretty much a long game fest for him, and now it's all really starting to come together. I think the course fits him really well as well. Another guy that can move it right to left, too, if need be. I played a lot with him when he was growing up back when I was working at the country club that he started at, and the guy he's a phenomenal player, especially off the tee. So I really like that spot. And then a couple of guys I'm looking at who I have not bet. One of them was Patrick Cantley. He's moved backwards. I liked him at 28. I was hoping to get something in the 30-plus range. Not sure he's going to get to that point. It doesn't appear so. So that's kind of where we're at there. And then Tommy Fleetwood, he's only 35 here at William Hill. He's like 45 or so on some other places. I actually wanted 60 on Fleetwood. So, again, not likely to happen. But he's a guy that I think will fit really, really well here. But I only made two wagers in this group.
All right, Token, give me your top tier of the tournament here.
I have one on this list who I was on last week that finished tied second is Berger. I think this course does fit him very well. And another one, like Tony mentioned, that fits this course very well. I just don't like the number as much as Tony does is Rory at 14.
Yeah, I mean, Rory McIlroy, like you said, we've talked about it before. He has the ability to take over a tournament whenever he wants. But, John, let's see. The top tier here, Brooks to Berger. The favorites all the way down to Daniel Berger at 40-1 here on the William Hill. What do you like?
I like a couple guys that have, I feel, a ton of value. How is Dustin Johnson under the radar? Just because he withdrew a couple weeks ago, I don't put too much stock into that.
I think his last 3 rounds were like 80 plus.
He's been a little hurt.
He's finished 12th. He finished 12th last week. He is one of the guys that can go from a slump to a win just like that, and he did it earlier when he won at the Travelers. I had him at 22-1, and guess what? He's at 22-1 right here on DraftKings.
Absolutely. One of the best players in the world.
And it's amazing. He's gone miscut, withdraw, and then 12th. And as I said, he is not the type of guy that will continue a slump. He is one of the guys that just catches fire and a win off the bat. And then the other person I have is Webb Simpson. He's ripe for a very, very big win. He's been completely consistent. And if not for a win, he's at 28-1 on DraftKings right now for a win. But if not, even a plus 300 for a top 10. This guy has been completely consistent. As Tony has said earlier, you need a guy that could drive it straight, but he also can work it right to left. And Webb has he since that beautiful up and down at Olympic right across the lake on 18 to win the U.S. Open in 2012, he hasn't really come out in those big events, but I definitely think he's ready and ripe for a big win right here.
Yeah, Webb's one of my favorite guys on tour. Always root for him when he does well. Another guy I was looking at, Jason Day, 30-1 might not be enough, but he's been playing pretty well lately too, so he might be worth a look. So, all right, let's look at that middle tier. Token, we'll start it off here. I got the middle tier at Tony Finau, 45-1, all the way down to Chez Reavie at 95-1 here on William Hill. You got some names in there. Obviously, Phil played well last week. He's at 70-1. Your boy Sergio, also at 70-1. Tony talked about Bubba at 80-1. Who do you like in this middle tier, again, from Finau to Reavie?
There are a few, and I'll start with the Finau one at 45. I like him. I mean, he starts out of the gate very hot usually. So if he starts hot, you're going to lose value on him if you're between round better and all of that. If he does start out hot like he has the past 5 out of 6 weeks, pretty much. Another one of the probably the better greens and regulation hitters on tour right now is Abraham Ancer, and I really like him at 65-1.
Gee, shocker.
And then I'm in a cross between two other names, so I might just take one bet and split it between them. Is Oosthuizen at 71 and Spieth at 55. I do like Spieth coming into this week. I think his caddy is definitely going to pick him up. I was watching a story of how his caddy became to be his caddy, and it's pretty phenomenal. Mr. Michael Greller, who used to be a math teacher out of like Seattle area, and just very phenomenal, like how he just happened to go to a tournament, caddy for somebody, and caddy for the.
That was it.
Yeah. Story over.
Yeah, caddy. Junior amateur open and carry it the rest away.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad guy, especially the last few years. Not a bad guy because he can make you some money. But you mentioned, Spieth at 55-1. We just talked about him a little bit. Abraham Ancer. How did I not already know that you were going to pick Abraham Ancer?
Yeah,
you've done
it's becoming a Grillo situation, like I have Token with you and Abraham Ancer. So it's a serious thing.
Abraham is to Token as Schauffele is to Tony.
Yeah,
it's pretty comparable.
So, all right, Tony, who do you have in this middle tier here? Finau to Reavie.
Yeah, so I just got one guy in this tier based on where they stand right now. So, you can find a better number a lot of other places. So, Shane Lowry, I know he's a very popular pick with some handicappers out in Europe. But to me, this is maybe the best value here. He was 150-1 at another spot here in Las Vegas still today. I don't know if that's still the case, but Shane Lowry just sets up absolutely, in my opinion, beautifully here. He's been putting it all together finally at the WGC last week. He got his caddy back, who had been back in Europe, not being able to come over here for a little while. His putter turned a little bit last week, but his ball striking has been absolutely on point. He's great with long irons. He can move it both ways. He can hit it low. He's got a great tee time as well, just like the previous two guys that I mentioned, where he's an early late guy, Thursday, Friday, and I just think this situation is great. His last two PGAs, he's been in the top 15. Obviously, we had the win last week or last year at the British. I was fortunate to have him there as well. He was about 100 then, and I just think this is an incredible spot, incredible value here, especially at if you can get over 100 in some other places. I think he's really ready to go. So that's my one pick here from this level. Although I have quite a few from the next one when we get there, but this is a good one here.
All right, so John, we're looking over this middle tier here. We've got picks from Tony and we got picks from Token. Another guy under the radar here has been playing pretty well since the restart is Tyrrell Hatton as well. He's another guy in here at 55-1. Who do you see in this middle tier that you'd like to lay a few shekels on?
As Tony mentioned, Fleetwood has been there in all the majors. He's sort of like a Xander Schauffele guy where he pumps himself up for these majors. And as we've seen in the past few years, after not seeing a lot of first-time winners, we have seen a few of those guys. And Fleetwood's one of those guys that just always pumps himself up for the big events. He finished -5 on Sunday at the WGC, which is sort of putting him in good form. But my main middle tier guy is Gary Woodland. He's at 45-1 on DraftKings, and the reason why I love him so much is the fact that he won the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach with those Pga greens and those cypress trees. It should be very familiar to him. He's one of the guys that you can get value on because he's a leaderboard lurker. You don't really see him coming, and he sort of comes out of nowhere where when you come to the betting public, they don't see him as a winner. He has 2 top fives he has 2 top 10s in his last 5 starts, and he's 15th in strokes gained total, or strokes gained total, which I think is the best stat to look at in golf when you're handicapping. And he finished second to Rory at Harding Park a few years back at the match play. So he knows how to play this course, and he looks like a very, very good fit and someone that you can get a lot of value on.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, it's time to look at the long shots as we love to do here. John, I'll let you start with the long shots here. These are the guys, and again, I know I use this every time, and these are the JB Holmes of the world, as Tony likes to.
Sure. And to go sort of against what Mr. Johnson said, I like Bubba. Bubba, he hasn't had a good year at all. But he is sort of like that Dustin Johnson guy that can come out of there and win. Although Mr. Johnson did say he works it, he does work it left to right for the most part. But he can play a draw. He grew up in my hometown, Pensacola, Florida, where a lot of sweet swingers are from. Jerry Pate, Joe Durant, guys like that. And he's a guy that could come out of nowhere and win. He finished 3 under on Sunday last week, so he's sort of rounding into form. But I can't believe we're getting 80-1 on Phil right now with those cool ass sunglasses. How cool are those sunglasses that he was wearing last week, right? And I know I'm probably in the minority there because he sort of looks like a goofball compared to everybody else. But he's been popping up on leaderboards lately. His short game's been good. I saw him play a beautiful flop shot. I think it was on 15 last week. So his short game's right there. He's played on those Pga greens all of his life. He plays well at Torrey Pines. He plays well at Pebble. Those cypress trees, he'll be able to work around, no problem. And at 80-1, he's one of the guys, just like I said, like Bubba. Like, when he gets in contention, he does have those fiery eyes that could sort of rise above the field here.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, you talk about guys who they're probably a little lower, like Phil played well last week, and they're the more popular players. And I liken guys like that to here in Vegas, the Vegas Golden Knights. You're never going to get the right number with these guys, even though these guys probably should be, a little bit higher. You're never going to get the right number because you know that people know them and they're going to fire money on them. So, Tony, the long shots here, we've got Harris English been playing really well lately as well. He starts here at the board at 100-1. And it goes all the way down. Let's see, who is I got Ken Tanagawa at 2,000-1 as the last of the betting options here. Rich Beam also 2,000-1 as well. So who do you got here, Tony? I know you love Rich Beam.
Yeah, it was tempting, certainly. Or 52-year-old Ken Tanagawa, who I think got in from this Champions Tour win, I believe, the Senior Pga Championship, which is nice that they whoever wins the Senior Pga gets to play on the PGA the next year. I think that's a good thing. But there's quite a few guys here that I like. In fact, there are 5 in total. So I'll try to go pretty quick. I know we have a lot to pack into the show here, but I'll start with Paul Casey at 125 to 1. I mean, you got to believe. If you're going to bet on Paul Casey here and be that much of a fucking crazy person, you have to believe, because he's the worst putter on tour right now. If you look at the stats the last 5 weeks, he is dead last in tour on putting. And, we're ignoring everything because he's also top 15 in ball striking overall, especially with long irons from 150 to 225 yards.
And because we've been betting on him for the last 3 weeks and we're chasing.
Hey, listen, he's due. He's due. If he's not putting well, there's got to be something that clicks in.
Yeah.
There you go. Just another Euro, another British guy that fits really well this spot here. I just like the setup a lot. So Paul Casey at 125. We got Billy Horschel at 125. I know he's a lot lower in some other places too, so I think that's a really good number. I rarely bet on Billy Horschel. It is a rarity. Everything has come together. He's had 3 top 20s in the last 5 weeks on tour. Fits the course really well. I think this is finally a spot where he actually fits really well. He fit the WGC, the great record there in Memphis. But here, I just really like the situation. And another guy that's pretty much on team no putt as well, but the flat stick has been quite good for him the last 5 or 6 weeks at least. So I really like what Billy Horschel brings to the table. Another guy that moves the ball right to left. Fantastic on a spot like this. 3 more here. Back to the Euros. Christian Swedenhood, who I know I've been on before. I watch a lot of European Tour golf, like Token. So we're pretty familiar with him. He's a large, gangly South African that's been doing very, very well out there the last couple of years. He's got 2 wins in the European Tour. He's come over here recently since the restart, and he has started to really heat it up. He's a big hitter, but also has a really good short game around the green. Nice, great hands, soft hands, like Ernie Els you kind of think of in that sense for the South African connection. But the Swedenhood, great player. Got him at 201 last week. I know he's down in the 175 range, to 1 range now. Just like how his overall game is here. I think he'll be used to these type of conditions. Matt Wallace, I know, is a popular pick from others. He's been heating it up in the PGA the last couple of years. He's got a top 5 and a top 15 the last 2 seasons. A guy that doesn't give a crap about anything, just goes balls to the wall, all out. I like the attitude there. And then my last guy, which is just a complete flyer. It doesn't really fit anything of what I'm trying to do here. I just like the number a lot, and that was Russell Henley. Came in at 250 at Westgate. Again, I don't really know what Russell does well anymore. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. He was a great putter for many years earlier starting his career, had some issues with ball striking, and then it completely flipped. He couldn't putt and was a great ball striker. And now we're in sort of no man's land. I don't know what the hell is going to happen. But 250 to 1, on a course that's going to play really, really hard. I don't know. He's just a plodding, grindy ass guy, and I just picked it up at 250. I don't know.
I'll tell you what he does well. He wins when he's in contention. That's when he's on the leaderboard on Sunday, he is completely clutch, especially when it comes to putting.
That's what I'm hoping for, John. I couldn't articulate it like you did there, but that's sort of where I'm at. And at 250, I just went with it. So those are my guys here in this level.
Well, speaking of a guy up there, I would have regret if I didn't bring this up, because as much as we celebrate all of the good things we do, we have to poke fun at all of the bad things we do as well. And in a no-cut field, Token liked Rafa Cabrera-Bello, and he finished dead fucking last.
Yep.
Sorry, man. I just had to pick on you for that one.
Hey, I have a saying for that. Of course, I talk to myself. Sometimes I need expert opinion.
You took that ticket to the window and
burned it to crisp.
All right, Token. Long shots here, brother.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's going to be a Cinderella story week. I already feel that.
What? Charles Schwartzel at 200.
I'm going to start from the lower basement players and work my way up.
Rich Beam.
Nope. Siwoo Kim. I like his aggressiveness. I like how he can shape the ball from right to left in certain situations, as well as his short game play. I think there's definitely some value on Siwoo this week.
300 to 1.
Another one, Mackenzie Hughes, excellent ball striker. He's been making some clutch putts as of late, and he's not afraid to go very deep. And like we already said, you buy a hat like that, bet you get a free bowl of soup, huh? Charles Schwartzel, this week's winner.
Charles Schwartzel.
There it is. I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Well, by that logic, I should really take Joel Dahman as well, since he's one of my favorite golfers now. And it has nothing to do with his on the field.
I mean, Schwartzel, the past few weeks, he's been getting phenomenally better ball striking as well as better with his short game. So it seems like he's getting back into his form when he won the Masters almost.
Tony, you know what I'm going to do? Don't tell Token this, but his birthday's in September. I'm going to try to get Charles Schwartzel on this podcast.
Hey.
Oh, that would be awesome. Oh, that'd be great.
Let's see. I'll have my people reach out to his people. So
Charles Schwartzel, you're my
get people
hero.
first. I'm actually surprised, Tony, you didn't take the Emiliano Grillo train.
Yeah, I'm a little bit off the train in the sense that I do think we're going to have some sort of game around the greens. You're going to miss greens. You know, they're elevated greens, some tough spots in and around these greens, and Grillo is the goddamn worst around the green and on the green. And I know this. I love the guy. I know it at least. But, yeah, this is not an Emiliano Grillo week. Oh, no, that's not.
So, Tony, do you have any insight on the rough this week at TPC Harding Park?
Sure. So, from what I understand, they're trying to keep it around 4 inches. Kerry Hay, the director of the PGA of America who sets these things up, has talked about how he wants it sort of at different lengths depending on what the situation calls for. So if there's a spot like a bailout spot off the tee, he does not want that rough to be, really penal. If guys sort of are going to meander to the right because there's maybe Lake Merced to the left or something like that. So he's going to want it to be anywhere from, what I understand, maybe 3 inches to like 4.5 plus, but most of it around the 4-inch range. And it being a rye bluegrass sort of mix, it's not easy to get out of. When you get deep in that stuff, as a lot of you guys know, I mean, it's a little bit tough. This is not an easy spot. So I think it's going to be really difficult to hold these greens if you're coming out of the rough with any sort of club.
All right, fair enough. So that was the futures. And it's time to move into one of my favorite segments, and that's the matchup bets, because we know it's hard to find that diamond in the rough. Shout out to Token on the futures market. But I think here, again, with Token, you've been brilliant with matchup bets.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I've been doing really well.
So I'm not going to start with you.
Fair enough.
I'm going to start with Tony here. Matchup bets here, especially in a major, we're going to have a plethora.
It's a lot. I mean, Token deserves to go last here for sure. Yes, there's a lot of matchups here. I will say I am much more focused on the props because it's become so prop centric. The last few years, at least, with these majors, you only have a finite amount of money, that can be bet. I am much more focused on the props, make this cut, top 10, 20 type of stuff. But there are going to be a few, I'll bet. So I will start with a couple that I have here so far. There might be some others that I've added in, especially with the late start. So the guys that are starting late on Thursday and then early Friday are the guys I'm really trying to fade here, So I will start first with, let me see. Sorry, I got it here. Okay, Patrick Cantley over Matsuyama. This one was minus 115 when I got it. I don't know where it stands right now. If you want to jump in whenever, whoever can, if you want to give the right numbers for the people out there, that's fine. I don't have those in front of me.
This is on William Hill?
It's on William Hill. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with William Hill now, again, because my focus, even for the 4-round matchups, I am avoiding guys, unless I love them for some reason, that have a late start on Thursday. I think this is really going to matter. I really do. So Cantley over Matsuyama. I'm anti-Matsuyama this week for a couple of reasons. Number one, he is still ongoing with swing changes. A guy that hits the ball as well as he does and goes through so many of these damn changes, I will never understand. Talk about team no putt. If there's a guy that's close to Paul Casey in the restart of how bad of a putter they've been, Matsuyama's way, way up there. Zero chance, in my opinion, this week. He's going to have to be A-plus perfect off the tee and into the greens, and I just don't see it happening. He's been too inconsistent the last 2 or 3 weeks with his golf swing, so I'm not a fan of Matsu. Patrick Cantley is nails, as always, every week. Haven't found a spot to bet him just because I think the number's always been too tough. But, I like Cantley over Matsuyama.
I got 125 on that. It's up to 125.
125. Okay, so it has moved up a little bit. Next one here that I am going to be betting against, and this is I don't bet against Mark Leishman very much, but Shane Lowry over Leishman. This is a pure spot here as well. Leishman has maybe the worst tee time you can have probably on Thursday and into Friday. He's getting better. Leishman is getting better. He was really terrible off the tee since the restart for a while. He's getting better, but I still love the spot here with Shane Lowry. Lowry, you were getting, I think, a pretty decent price as well. So I have Lowry over Leishman. I already actually bet that one for sure. So that one is in. And moving along here, we have Ryan Palmer over Emiliano Grillo. Again, I just talked about how I'm fading my boy Grillo sort of this week. Ryan Palmer continues to put it together. Had another great finish last week. Snuck into the top 15, I believe. Crazy week for Ryan Palmer. The course doesn't fit. This is not a great fit for Palmer. He's a left to right guy. He's a Texan. I'm not sure the fit is that great, but I just can't see Grillo breaking par any of these rounds, any of them. I don't think Grillo will make the cut. I don't think Palmer has a much better chance to make the cut. So that's where I'm at. Those are all the bets that I have for sure. I'm considering betting Morikawa over Webb Simpson. I'm not on the Webb Simpson train this week. Nothing against him per se. And I know John made some good arguments for Webb, but I don't like how the game has been the last couple of weeks since he's lost Paul Tesori off the bag. I think that relationship might be the most important caddy-player relationship there is on tour. The fact that Tesori's hurt and can't caddy, I think it weirdly matters for a guy like Webb Simpson. Nothing wrong with that. It's great. I mean, Webb's a great player, but I think that matters. I don't know. I'm not on the train here with Simpson, and he got a bad draw on tee times too. So I'm considering going to be betting that one as well.
All right, fair enough. John, what do you like in matchups this week? I mean, this is kind of the moneymaker of the Vegas Course podcast. So.
Sure. Obviously, as in every week better, matchups are the way to go. The long shots in golf, it is sort of a pipe dream a lot of the time. But I think a huge fade this week is Bryson. So I'm going to take Xander even money against Bryson due to the fact that, he had that great run a few weeks back. But you got to understand as a golfer, you put that much weight on your body and you are swinging that hard, it will come back to you. We saw Tiger, how hard he was swinging early in his career, and he had all those knee surgeries because of it. Something's going to come back on Bryson. You could tell. I love what he's done. The fact that he's sort of changing golf with the same length clubs, and I'm not a Bryson hater at all. I just think that he's been playing a lot lately. And, with all that extra poundage on his body, and if you look at him and how hard he swings, he's swinging like Bubba, where his left foot is just coming off the ground, and it almost ends up to the left. Someone help me with the the great swing of the Asian golfer that comes out of his shoes. I can't remember his name, but he's really swinging out of his heels right now, and I don't think that's good. It's going to come back, and he'll learn how to deal with the extra poundage. But Xander's just a top 10 machine in the majors, and he's someone that has proven himself. So I'll take even money on DraftKings against Bryson. Next, Matty Fitz. This guy's rounding into form. He's minus 118 on DraftKings against Patrick Reed. Not to say I don't like Reed. It's more that I'm on top of Fitzgerald right now. He's a young guy. He's hungry. He's in form. He had a tough 17th hole last week, but he came right into the field out of nowhere. I'm watching the coverage. You didn't see one shot from him until he was on 17, which is unfortunate because they're showing Phil and Koepka and JT. But once he wins a major, which I think could be very soon, we'll see him a lot more on TV. So I'll take him minus 118 against Reed. And lastly, Harris English. He is minus 125 on DraftKings against Kevin Na. They have similar finishes lately, but Harris English, his last 6 tournaments, all top 25s, besides a miscut and 2 top 10s. He's coming out of a bad relationship. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but he had a wife that was very berating and almost just an awful person. I know I've dealt with it. I'm sure you guys have too. But
married to Karen.
When you come out of that, when you come out of that, I mean, she was a bombshell. You take a look at her, almost as hot as Daniel Berger's wife, but similar stature. But when you have a wife like that puts so much pressure on you and is telling you you're not that good, and then you get rid of her, 6 months to a year later, you're going to be on top of the world because you're going to understand he's just rounded into form and he's minus 125 against Na. And like I said, it's nothing against Na. I'm just betting on Harris English right here.
Yeah, I just Googled her while you were talking. Yeah, not bad at all.
Yeah, she's a bombshell. Yep, no doubt about it.
So, all right, here we go. Token Tony's matchups of the week. Kid's been on fire lately. Let's not put out these flames.
I've got a few. I'll start out with my question mark one. This more than likely I'm going to fire on this one, but not sure. I got Rahm over DJ. I'm just anti-DJ this week. I think last week was almost like a fluke of him playing that well, and that might be the death of him playing almost 4 full rounds.
I'll take side action. Token.
I think he's still kind of hurt, and he's trying to mask that over, and I actually see value on Rahm at that price.
You got your wager, no juice, right there. Side action.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as he doesn't party too hard that week, right?
And then let's start on the ones I already have. I have Steele over Van Ruin at plus 115. The champion of this week, Schwartzel over Bubba at plus 120. We got Spieth over Hatton at even money.
Ooh.
And then we got Answer over Woodland at minus 110. And then the last one is Berger over Reed, because who doesn't like to not root against Reed at minus 105? And Daniel's been playing pretty well lately too. So
yeah, that's fair. I mean, everybody likes to root against Patrick Reed. I don't know if he has too many fans in his corner.
I think I'm his only fan ever since that Ryder Cup match against Rory. He's one of my favorites. He's amazing. That little finger wag was one of the best of all time.
I stand corrected. There you go. All right. Yeah, he's got a fan. All right. Tony, this is where you shine, my friend. Prop bets. So you're going to go last on this. Prop bets, we've got 72 hole scores. We've got things like that. I lost my train of thought. Token, I'll let you start with the props here.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting ones on this week for sure. I have a few of these already listed out. I've got DJ no top 10 at even money, or no top 20 at even money. Todd to make the cut. That one's my last one in at minus 165. I didn't like what Tony said about the later tee times on Thursday, but however, I think he's been striking the ball well enough to just make the cut and sneak in and pretty much what he did in the Memorial and just get around 40th place or something. Finau top 20. I think he comes out of the gate strong again, cruises into the weekend with top 5 and kind of cruises and coast along throughout moving day in the final round. Plus 180 I got on that one. And then Morikawa top 20 at plus 145. I mean, he's been striking the ball ridiculously well. And my favorite bet of the week, hole in one. Yes.
Oh, yes.
He likes the yes.
I like the yes at plus 110.
There it is. All right, Johnny, props, finishing bets. What do you like here? Makes cuts, miscuts.
I only have one, and I'm gonna give you someone that the name that you probably haven't heard in a while, but Danny Willett, top 20 this week at plus 550, 5.5 to 1. Looks like some good value for him. He finished 4th in the Rocket Mortgage. And if it wasn't for an 82 on Sunday at Memorial, he would have been right in the mix. He faded on Sunday, but he's rounding back into form. And what I've seen from Danny Willett, he's got a great smile on his face. If you remember, like when he's winning the Masters and he's doing really well back in the day, he had this great smile and a love for the game. And, after the Masters, maybe, he had a little bit too much pressure on him, and you could see he wasn't enjoying it as much. But when I've been watching him lately, he has had a beautiful smile on his face, so you could tell he's into the game. So 5.5 to 1, top 20 on DraftKings for Danny Willett. Love that bet.
Yeah, we were on Willett a few weeks ago. Actually, I think it was the Rocket Mortgage when He soared to the top like that too. Yeah, Danny Willett's a fun player to watch. So, all right, Tony, it's prop central here.
I'll burn through them. I'll start. Unfortunately, this is rare that Token and I are on opposite sides on something, but I'm on the opposite side of the Brendan Todd miscut train. I feel like they got lucky here because I bet this one when it opened early Monday. He was plus 210 to miss the cut at that time. It's come way down since. Yeah, so I got lucky with the tee time that it's not a good tee time, but I just don't like the fit at all here. I don't like how he's not great with his long irons. I think that might be the death of him. Obviously, he's accurate with off the tee, so we'll see. We'll see if that continues. And I'm not too worried about like a really bad round that he had to finish, but it's just what he does well, and I'm just not sure it fits. So that one, another one that I bet before was Phil Mickelson to miss the cut. This one's way down. I got it at plus 190. I know he's like plus 160 or something like that now. Again, I can't see him making hitting fairways. I know that John, you talked about being on him, but I don't like the fit. I don't like the fit at all. It's going to be a fairway, necessary thing, and he just is not making a lot of good decisions off the tee. It does seem like he's in having fun mode over anything else, which I'm not sure is going to be the same way in a major, certainly, but I don't know. I just don't like the spot here. I think there's a lot of better fits for him. Ricky Fowler to miss the cut somewhere else, a plus 210. I'm just anti-Ricky this week. Again, I don't think the fit is very good. And one of the biggest ones I made, as I mentioned before, is Spieth to make the cut at minus 200. So that'll do it for my miss cut scenarios. Some top 10, top 20 things like that. For the yeses, for two to do this, we have Spieth to top 20 at plus 250. And then Schauffele to top 10 at plus 225. That was found at South Point actually. So that's I think a pretty good number there. And then I have a bunch of no's. Fowler no top 20 at minus 180. Berger no top 20 at minus 160. And Justin Thomas to no top 10 at minus 140. It's not like I'm trying to find spots to be anti-Justin Thomas here. It's hard to argue with what he's done since the restart especially. But just becoming a number one player in the world again. Obviously playing so lights out last week. He lost 3 shots to the field putting and still won a golf tournament last week. The ball striking has been as best as it's maybe ever been from a guy like that. He's a great ball striker. It's going to be tough to follow up, I think, here. And
I love what you're saying, Tony. JT, it's hard to, I think he went second in the playoff, 18, and then a win. To get to number one in the world, as you mentioned, it is so hard to follow that up. Pressure's on him. So I love that.
Yep. So that is the last of all of the props that I have, but I think there's a lot of good stuff here. I really do. I think there's some immense value this week. So, I'm
wondering if in honor of Bobby Digital, we go to miscuts on JT and Koepka.
It's doable. It's possible.
Totally possible.
All 3 of those guys, I think it's possible. I do. I really do.
What are we looking at cut line here? About what, 1 over maybe?
It might be a tad higher. I think it might be a tad higher. I'm not sure. I'm thinking it'll be like 2 to 3 range. I don't know. It's hard. It's obviously a hard thing to predict.
Right. No.
The tough day on Thursday. I think the scoring will be better on Friday, but I think we're going to lose a lot of guys on Thursday. So because if you shoot a 7-8 over round, you just don't really have much of a chance because you can't really go super low here. So yeah, I think we're going to lose a lot of guys on this Thursday. We'll see.
And Tony, do you have anything with I was looking at the humidity and the weather this week because I'm looking for something if as far as the greens are concerned. Do you have any insight on that, like how the humidity is going to affect it, or I know rain obviously is going to lighten up the conditions a little bit, but humidity, do you have anything on that?
I did not get into that actually. It's a good question, John. I do know that. From the little research that I did, at least in that area, I didn't play very much golf in that area when I went and visited. My mother used to live there, but the marine layer stays for a little while, and it is pretty heavy in the morning, despite the fact that it's usually the most tame in regards to wind and things like that. The ball definitely does not travel nearly as far in the morning. I don't know whether humidity gets involved in that, so I can't answer your question, but We are going to see distance down this week for sure. Overall, despite it being playing firm and fast, distance will be down a little bit. There'll be less carry. So for the Bryson people of the world, it's going to be tough. He's just not going to be able to carry in spots. It's amazing, what 55 degrees will do compared to 95. In these certain spots, it's a big difference.
Tony, I thought you were referencing how his caddy has that little hand sprayer that he sprays the ball on the practice range to make it just like the humidity in the morning on the.
It's amazing. I mean that combination with him and his caddy. I mean that's just great stuff right there. Those two. I mean they're made for each other. It seems like it's fantastic.
Yeah, they have an ant farm right there. Have the little sprayer. Do the little spray on there. Right.
Awesome.
So all right, well that's gonna wrap it up here for the matchups, props, and finisher bets. I really hope we have a solid week this week because I think we need to pull together and buy Token a new hat.
I like it. I like the look.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You can pull that back out in the year 2040.
Okay.
Yeah, Token. If you really want to look goofy, do what I do and Joel Damon does. Do the bucket cap. You'll look.
Join Schwartzel on Sunday during the 3M with his goofy.
Maybe you could put one with a pinwheel coming out of the top there.
Yeah.
All right, and as the last segment of our show, we always like to we're going to try, we've been doing this for a whole 2 weeks now. We're going to give you a DFS lineup for optimal play. Obviously, if you're in Nevada, unfortunately, you cannot play DFS, but there are many of you out there that can play. Token has taken it upon himself to do the entire DFS lineup this week on Yahoo Fantasy. So we have a $200 budget, Token.
Yes. I'm going to start with the bottom and work my way up. I got Schwartzel. Of course, the winner this week. Only $20 for the $200 lineup.
That's more than your hat.
Maybe. I think this brand's actually kind of expensive. It's a retro hat too. We got Spieth at $27, averaging almost 60 fantasy points per week. We got Answer at $36, averaging well over 70. Then we got Gary Woodland, because he's probably one of the better ball strikers in the past few weeks for sure. For $37, we got him on the lineup, and then Finau for $39. He starts out of the gate way strong, and we got the most expensive golfer this week is Schauffele.
I like it how Finau he hits it high. He could hit it over those dog legs. He could pick his spots, where a lot of players, can't hit it that high. That's why I think Rory's done so well here as well. He could take it over those big dog legs.
Yep.
All right, so we got DFS plays, we got matchups, we got props, we got fames, we got futures. Oh man, it's a jam-packed show. PGA can't come fast enough. If you're watching this again on Zingo, we are going to be on all night until the start of the first round. So if you miss one episode, you can catch it again. Obviously, if you're watching on Zingo, you're not going to miss the episode. So I said what I said. Gentlemen, we got a major. I'm excited. I know you guys are excited.
It's going to be a great week. Yep, great week. The coverage, by the way, is like 12 hours long each day. So if you really wanted to just hole up and just watch golf, I know if you have ESPN Plus, you can watch about 12 hours of coverage each day. So it's pretty. I'm not going to do that, although I say that now, but who knows? But it's pretty amazing the setup that we got here.
I sincerely appreciate you guys bringing me on the show. This has been a lot of fun. I handicap every week, and I'd love to come on soon.
Yeah, for sure. We'd love to have you as well. But Token, I know that Tony is lying when he says he's not going to hole up for 12 hours because I text him, and then 8 hours later he's like, "Oh, my bad, my phone. I was watching golf." So.
Well, maybe I'll get to see Matthew Fitzpatrick play a shot before 17 this week.
There you go. So, all right. Well, again, Mr. John Parr, we appreciate you coming aboard. Always a pleasure. You're welcome back anytime, every time. So for Token Tony, for Tony Johnson, for John Parr, we appreciate you listening. I am Aaron. We will catch you on the next one. Good luck on your bets, and we'll see you again.